It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio today. We're going to be talking about voter registration today with Vice President of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Verde Valley, Robin Prudhomme-Bauer. Welcome to studio.
Thank
welcome
you, Paul.
Back.
Well, thank you. Yes.
I've seen you on other shows here, so I know you've been here for a time or two. Website for you is lwvverdevalley.com. LWV, League Women Voters, verdevalley.com is a website for you for more information about what we'll be talking about today. Let's start with, maybe we should tell folks what the League of Women Voters is.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're a national organization that is actually, our roots come from the women's suffrage movement. So we're 95 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what we do is we encourage the people to get involved in politics through discussion of issues, helping shape public policy, getting involved in community activities. For us, that's really important. And that's why we're all involved in the League. We're political junkies. We like to see issues discussed in a fair and open and respectful way. Civil discourse is definitely one of our values. And we like to see more people involved in the political process, whether it's through voting, running for elections. Even though we don't support candidates or political parties, we do encourage people to run. We also encourage people to serve in their communities on boards and commissions and be appointed to special task forces and things like that. So yeah, that's in a nutshell what the League of Women Voters is all about.
You were talking about that before the show, too, that it's important for folks to step up and participate in boards and commissions.
Yes.
Why is that?
Why is that?
Yeah.
Well, I think, communities are shaped by the people who live in them. I've served on the Planning Commission, the Board of Adjustments, and currently on the Design Review Board in the town of Clarkdale, which is the town I live in. And I feel it's important. I want to be involved in how our community grows, how our community is shaped, the businesses that come there, the kind of look to the community. And to see that happen, you have to be involved. And so I really believe in that. And at the county and the state level, absolutely also. You can work on projects countywide that can make a difference. I know we're involved in doing a cleanup day on public lands around Clarkdale. I think that's coming up here soon. That's being involved in shaping your community and helping your community. And that's for me is very, very important.
Do you remember when you got the bug to just want to be this kind of person and do these sort of things and join the league? And
well, I've been a league member. This is really hard to say since I was in my early 20s, so that's a lot of years. I've always liked politics. I can remember my parents talking about politics and my grandparents also. And when I would spend time with my grandparents, it was usually during the summertime, and we would sit in front of the TV watching the conventions, the political conventions, whether they were Republican or Democratic, and I just thought that was just so fascinating. And my grandmother would talk to me about that a lot. So my interest in politics goes way back to when I was a little girl. I just think it's really exciting. And I'm a little bit of a history person, so I like, how our country was shaped through politics.
Gotcha. Okay. How did the Sedona Verde Valley, which is now the Greater Verde Valley,
Yes.
League of Women Voters get started?
Oh my gosh, it got started in Sedona in 1980 is our roots, and I think a lot of the people who were involved in it were actively working on some of the issues that help shape Sedona today. where Keep Sedona Beautiful came out, where they were fighting to purchase lands and stuff to protect lands in and around Sedona. And that's kind of where the League got started, was in Sedona. It expanded over the years, including other parts of the county, because we found our issues were not just Sedona-based. I live in Clarkdale, and so even though issues of land use or transportation or housing might be something that they've talked about in Sedona, those are really regional issues. And as we know, oftentimes if you live or if you work in Sedona, you might not be able to afford to live there. So what are the issues involved in that? Transportation, housing. Our economy is a regional economy. It's not, each town has a certain identity, right, but it's regionally based. Our roads are regional roads. So if you travel on Highway 179 or 260, those are regional roads. Yes, they affect all of our community, they might affect one community more than the other, but we all use them to get around. Air quality, land use. I mean, we've had issues around land use around this county or this region for a long time. Mm-hmm. Is oftentimes the protection or conservation of certain lands. Even when we talk about the river, the Verde River, well, that flows throughout the region, and right, Oak Creek is a tributary to the Verde River, so it's a connectivity. That's why we became a regional league, Greater Verde Valley, so we could talk about it and be involved in issues on a regional basis.
That's what I remember too, because it used to be the League of Women Voters Sedona Verde Valley.
Yes.
And it's hard for me, doing this so many years, to stop saying that. And then Barbara sent me the email and said you wanted to come and do the show, and I thought, okay, Greater Verde Valley.
Yes.
Greater Verde Valley.
Yes.
So it's tough. Yeah,
yes,
it is League of Women Voters of the Greater Verde Valley.
Yeah, it's not like, Sedona is a part of the Verde Valley.
Sure, sure.
And so we look at it as if we can talk about that regionally and look at issues regionally, then that's where we need to be.
You have our workforce, a lot of workforce for Sedona lives in the Verde Valley and travels to Sedona to work. And then, a lot of different businesses or different areas of the Verde Valley come together, and we all shop in each other's communities. So
hey,
we're united. We really
are more than people think.
Right, more than people think. What types of things does the League do in Sedona and the Verde Valley throughout a given year? Maybe, you know what, let's take our first break.
Okay.
Let's take our first break. I see we're almost there. LWV, League of Women Voters, VerdeValley.com. LWV, VerdeValley.com is the website. Vice President of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Verde Valley, Robin Prudhomme-Bauer, in studio today. I'm Paul David. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
So they say it's a man's world? Well, I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were out doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. We changed all that. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Orkin has pest control down to a science.
When your business chooses Orkin's Precision Protection Program, you get a tailored pest control program for your specific industry and environment.
Your business can benefit from over a century of experience, training, and scientific knowledge that define the Orkin man.
Maximum protection, minimum exposure, backed by one of the industry's most comprehensive guarantees.
Choose your locally owned and operated Northern Arizona Orkin and get more than an exterminator. Get an expert.
Welcome back to Countywide. Robin Prudhomme-Bauer, Vice President of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Verde Valley, in studio today. LWVVerdeValley.com is the website for more information. We wanted to mention, you said during the break that if I wanted to be a member of the League of Women Voters, I could be.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the guys aren't excluded from this?
No, absolutely not. Anybody who's 18 years or older can be a member of the League of Women Voters. As I said, we come out of the women's suffrage movement, and for a lot of years we were a women's organization, but we expanded that. We have several men who are involved in our activities at all levels of the League of Women Voters. So that's why I usually say LWV, because it's sort of our brand name. And yes, we encourage all people to get involved in the organization.
Excellent. So you have an event coming up.
Yes.
So let's hit that real fast before we jump into our next question.
Okay.
But Voter Registration Weekend Bonanza.
Yes.
September 18th through the 22nd. And September 22nd happens to be National Voter Registration Day.
Yes, it is. National Voter Registration Day is something that leagues across the country participate in, and we're expanding it here in the Verde Valley. We're having the Bonanza Weekend, we're calling it, with some great voter registration sites. So we're starting on the 18th. We're going to be at the Sedona Farmers Market all day with a voter registration booth, and over at the Yavapai Apache Nation Administration Building doing voter registration activities over there. Then we're going to be at both public libraries, one on the 19th at Sedona Public Library and at the 21st at the Cottonwood Public Library. And then our exciting part is that we're going to be doing voter registration events in all of the high schools. It's Sedona Red Rock High School on the 21st and at Mingus Union High School and Camp Verde High School on the 22nd, so that we can get those kids who will be 18 by the next election registered to vote, and teachers who haven't registered to vote or who have moved here or moved to a new place registered to vote. So we're really reaching out to those who are, the young kids who are really at the prime of being registered to vote, because we know if we can get them registered now, they'll be voting for the rest of their lives.
So when you say next election, are we talking about November?
Yeah.
Okay, we are talking about November, whether there's an election in our area or not.
Right.
Which there are. So.
Right. There are. So they can register now if they're going to be 18 by that election day. So, yeah. And we'll do it again in the springs as we get closer to the 2016 election.
Next year is going to be a big year.
Oh, my gosh.
Lots of elections next year. I know when I talk to the elections department.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge next year.
You'd probably be glued to the TV, I imagine.
Probably glued to the TV.
Probably are now.
Yeah. Well, it's local, state, and national elections, so it's a really, really big year. The League will be hosting candidate forums for whichever candidates would like to sit together and talk about the issues, both in public venues, maybe even in studio kind of things that we've done here before. And we'll be doing a statewide voter guide on any of the state propositions that make it to the ballot next November 2016, that is. So it's going to be a busy year for us, and voter registration activities are really key. Getting people to vote, to register to vote, means that they're interested in what happens in their communities, and those are people who will vote. So,
Leslie Hoffman, our county recorder, said that Yavapai County historically has the greatest voter turnout in the entire state.
Yes, we do.
Which always kind of baffles me with Maricopa County and Pima County and some of the bigger counties that we have, or just more populated counties that we have. Yavapai County has just got this great voter turnout. Prescott just had their council election. They had a few questions on the ballot, but they had 57% voter turnout.
Isn't that amazing? That's wonderful.
What do you credit that to? What does the League credit that to?
I think it's just that we really care in Yavapai County about who represents us. And the more local the issue is, the greater chance of people getting out and voting. It's just sort of maybe cultural around here more than anything, and I'm really proud about Yavapai County being the county with the highest voter turnout in the state. I wish it were higher. How's that?
Right.
I wish it were higher. I wish we would have, in the range of 75 to 80%. Wouldn't that be lovely?
That would be amazing.
It would be amazing.
It would be amazing.
And there's no reason not to. Your vote really does count. When people say it doesn't, of course it does. If it doesn't, if you don't vote, then nobody has to listen to what your issues are, what your concerns are, how your community is doing something right or wrong.
If I said to you, Robin, my vote doesn't count, what would be your response to that? How would you try to convince me to go the other way?
How would I Well, when you talk about if your issue, let's say, is the government, how the government spends the money, I'm concerned about that, or they don't listen to me. Well, guess what? Government money is your money, so your vote really does count. You do have a say over that. Does our vote always end up on the winning side? No, but let's say it's a really close election. Do you think whoever the winner is going to ignore those who didn't vote for him? I don't think, him or her. No, I don't think so, because it's really close. That means they have a whole constituency they need to represent.
But I'm just one vote.
Yeah, well, elections have been lost by one vote.
We've seen that happen. We've
seen that happen
several times. Right?
Yes, I've heard of a candidate who lost the election because his wife forgot to go to the polls on election day by one vote. Oh, isn't that rather embarrassing?
And then there's this whole thing that has to happen after that does happen. When an election's that close, there's all this excitement that has to go.
They have to go to recounts. It takes a longer time than it should to determine who the winner is.
Candidates nail biting out there, trying to, am I going to win? Am I going to lose?
Yes.
But what does that tell you, the League of Women Voters? What does that tell you guys when you see something like that, where it's just this 50-50 race like that?
It says people are engaged. People do want to have a say over what happens in their communities. That's what is exciting. And hopefully it's done in a respectful way that, people who are supporting different sides of different candidates, they're respectful and will accept the outcome of the election. Because that's what a democracy is all about, is being able to cast a vote and determine who's going to represent us at the different levels of government. That's what this is all about. Yeah. And remember, people in other countries have lost their lives for the right to vote. We take it for granted.
This is true. This is true. So in Yavapai County, before the show started, we talked about this, that we have this really, did you say progressive way of voting?
I think so. I think we're one of the more progressive counties in the state of Arizona.
Where in Yavapai County, if let's say in days gone by, my polling place was this church at this location, and every time I voted, that's where I had to go. But now we've changed that system in Yavapai County. So if I'm woke up in Camp Verde this morning, but I work in Cottonwood all day, I can go to any polling place in Cottonwood and cast my vote.
Yes, you can, for state and federal elections. Yes, absolutely, it's marvelous. Where other counties, that doesn't happen. And if you live in Coconino County, which of course part of Sedona is in Coconino County, you have to go to your polling place. That's sort of the little quirkiness of the different counties in the state of Arizona. Not every county runs their election procedures in the same way.
All right, let's take our second break. LWVVerdeValley.com is the website for more information about the League of Women Voters of the Greater Verde Valley. This is Countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
Orkin has pest control down to a science.
When your business chooses Orkin's Precision Protection Program, you get a tailored pest control program for your specific industry and environment.
Your business can benefit from over a century of experience, training, and scientific knowledge that define the Orkin man.
Maximum protection, minimum exposure, backed by one of the industry's most comprehensive guarantees.
Choose your locally owned and operated Northern Arizona Orkin and get more than an exterminator. Get an expert.
Right, mi cariño. So like I said, everything I learned about cooking, I learned from Grandma's empanadas. Shall we go again?
Yep.
Mix beef with the onions with the peppers with the paprika with the garlic with the oregano with the cumin. Got it?
Got it.
Throw on the olives, stir, season, stir again, pour out the flour, roll out the dough, make a circle, drop in a fistful of filling, fold over, press down, and ta-da!
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
The inherent right to work is one of the elemental privileges of a free people. Endowed, as our nation is, with abundant physical resources, and inspired as it should be to make those resources and opportunities available for the enjoyment of all, we approach reemployment with the real hope of finding a better answer than we have now.
Donate to Goodwill, where your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a couple minutes left in the program. And Robin, you wanted to talk about just kind of the requirements of registration.
Right. When people come to voter registration locations like what we're going to have, please bring your Arizona driver's license or some kind of ID that's been officially issued by the state of Arizona. That will make it really easy. In some of the locations, we'll be able to do voter registration right online if we've got the capacity to do that. If not, we'll be doing the mail-in voter registration forms right there. So, so I ask people to bring some official kind of identification.
Is there anything else I can bring if I don't have the driver's license or a state ID?
You can bring your passport, or a copy of your passport. That would be helpful, or even a copy of your birth certificate. If you're Native American, all you need to have is your tribal treaty card or some enrollment card through your tribe. So yeah, just bring them with you. It makes it easier. We do have the federal form that we can have you fill out if you do not have those forms of identification with you, and that's perfectly legal to do, but you'll only be able to vote in federal elections with
You'll do what you can to get people registered,
Yes,
won't you?
we will. Just about
you will.
anything.
LWVVerdeValley.com is the website. Again, they've got the voter registration weekend bonanza coming up September 18th to the 22nd. You're going to be kind of all over the place.
All over the valley. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just look for our League of Women Voters table, and we'll get you registered to vote. If you've moved, you need to re-register to vote. If you're new to the area, you need to register to vote.
That's a good point, too. Yeah, if you do move, you have to re-register.
Yes, you
exactly.
do.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
All right. Robin, very nice to have you in studio.
Nice to be here, Paul, again. Have me back for another one, okay?
Oh, next year's a big year, so I imagine we will see your face again.
Yes, absolutely.
LWVVerdeValley.com for more information. That's today's Countywide, and we will talk to you again next time.
welcome.